Hey, hello, good morning, and welcome to the Stokastic.com NFL Sim Strategy Show. Just realized that one light, that backlighting, is not on, so I'm going to fix that in a second. It's going to drive me nuts if I don't. Well, yes, Brian Engel. Anyone else prematurely celebrate Loughy's parlay when the Rams fumbled on the goal line? Dude, when that happened, I go, could I run any hotter right now? Could I run any hotter? I knew they still had the kick. I was like, but you know what? I couldn't run any. And then we lost it because they ended up kicking a field goal. But, dude, McCaffrey had like 5 receptions in the first 2 drives and then didn't have another reception until the fourth quarter. I'm like, we got that. We got the Kyron touchdown. Give me the under. I thought we were going to get there. And if we did, we wouldn't have deserved it, but we would have taken it nonetheless. Anyway, glad to have you guys here. If you don't mind, before we jump into it, take a single second, atone for your sins this fine morning. Hit the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you're watching today, Friday afternoon, it's Friday morning, Saturday, Sunday morning, whatever it may be. There's always time to show some love. Leave a comment too. And if you're watching or listening in podcast form, we know you're out there, man. Shoot us a review or a rating on the pod if you haven't. That helps a lot, believe it, like actually a ton as far as ranking podcasts go. Greg, how we doing, brother?
Yeah, doing pretty good. I was kind of going back and forth last night. I was watching a little bit more of the Yankees-Red Sox game, but then I was still able to catch the end of the football game because it went into overtime. And both games ended up being really fun. So last night was good from that perspective. And other than that, just looking forward to this slate, which is just crazy with value. If we thought the injury report wasn't crazy enough for Thursday Night Football, then we've got this weekend slate where there is so much good options to go to at running back. It's absurd how many players are out already.
Dude, it's not just players being out either. It's notable players being out, right? Like it's significant guys that are out that are going to impact the entire slate. I mean, Bucky Irving, Chuba Hubbard appears like he's not going to play. That's just to name a couple of them. Sure, some other guys have already been out, so it's not going to have much of an impact, like CeeDee Lamb, Mike Evans and those guys. But Tyreek Hill, that was, don't forget, that Tyreek Hill game was Monday night. The salaries had already been released for this slate, which means Jalen Waddle's price point is $5,400. So you're going to see a lot of that. I'm excited to get into it. I just had a delicious breakfast. I made myself a breakfast sandwich, Greg, and I did it a little differently today. Usually I muck it up with a bunch of stuff that isn't particularly healthy, but here's the stage of my life that I'm at right now. I've been growing my own food, and I made a garden, right? I have the girls, my kids go out, pick them each morning, water it. It's great stuff. I figure good learning experience. No one taught me that stuff when I was a kid, but I've got all these tomatoes that I don't know what to do with, and all these peppers that I don't know what to do with. So I feel obligated every time I eat a meal to incorporate them into something. So I made a delicious egg and cheese breakfast sandwich with some spinach and some tomato. Surprisingly good on a brioche roll or bun.
Brioche, one of the many things that I'm not capable of eating because it is dairy in it.
Oh, dude, you are missing out. Einsteinium, I don't put avocados. I have like a weird allergy to them. It's not bad. I don't know if anyone else has this, but like if certain fruits or certain like whatever, it makes my throat itch in the top of my mouth. It's gone away as I've gotten older, but it's something about like the proteins, because if they cook them, it breaks down and I can eat it fine. You guys asked about this, I know. But no, I don't do avocado. My wife does avocado on them, but big fan of cooked spinach. One of the only foods that is actually better for you when you cook it. How about that? But anyway.
People will. I know at least one person who has an avocado allergy. That's Andre Drummond, NBA DFS players.
Yeah, that's right.
Andre Drummond was massively chalky on a slate and then got scratched. This only happens in the NBA. He was massively chalky and he got scratched after lock because of an avocado allergy. That's what came out about it. It turned out he didn't know he was allergic to avocados. He ate one and one of his eyes got swollen shut and he was like 40% owned and didn't play. And we didn't find out until after lock.
We all know it was some odd STD.
Yeah, it was some new form of pink eye.
He was in Mexico City, I think. But yeah, that was a crazy one. No, it's nothing bad. It's just like uncomfortability. That's all. But yeah, because because I've been growing stuff, it's like I gotta eat it all, you know. I got all these cherry tomatoes and make a little sauce out of that. It's fun stuff. Greg, you've got a house to yourself with a yard. You should do it. I assume it's not something that you'd be into. Maybe when
Nope.
you're a little. I'm telling you, dude. Once you start, it is one of the most. Anyone in chat knows what I'm talking about, and I know I'm getting older. I get it. Not preaching to the choir. It's super rewarding, man. It is very fun. You eat it, you go, I made that shit. I'm going to set up a garden for you, and all you got to do is water it.
I could also walk to the grocery store that's down
It's
the
not
street.
the point, dude. When the apocalypse comes, you're not going to the grocery store, and if you do, you're going to get stomped out. Not me, brother.
The apocalypse comes, I can't get any of my medication. I'm dying anyway. It is what it is.
That's true. I'm walking into the backyard with an AR pistol in case anyone tries to steal my peppers. And I'm eating. Anyway, let's get into it. Glad you guys could join. Let's have some fun. Einsteinium, yes. For sure. Again, it comes with age, but there's something rewarding about it. We've got a fun slate. I want to point one thing out to you guys, particularly those of you who are premium subs and run the Sims. We are currently in the process of updating projections for a couple of pieces of news that broke yesterday and last night. Greg took it upon himself smartly to go ahead and project Chuba Hubbard for 0 and also to go in and fix the Rico Dowdle projection. I think you did a good job on it. And my guess is, given how much value we have everywhere else, that what you did there is enough. But I will say, because you set it to about 18% or 17% ownership or something. We're getting 16%. The only thing I would say that keeps jumping out to me, Rico Dowdle was starting to get considerable work, even with Chuba Hubbard in there. And my guess is Chuba Hubbard wasn't 100% healthy because, remember, he's been on the injury report. This might actually be like a big-time usage game for Rico Dowdle. The more and more I think about it, the more I'm starting to really like him against the Miami Dolphins as a slight home favorite.
Yeah, and by the way, I was thinking through this because we know that the data is going to be updated on the site by the data team. So right now, I just in advance of the show, I kind of made some educated guesses and did some of my own projections and ended up with Rico Dowdle for 18% ownership and then 13.5 fantasy points. I'll tell you guys what I'll do, though, to get you over the data. I think you'll like this idea, Loughy. After the show ends and we have the data updated, I will post to Tails the updated Sims projections that we would have had on the show had all the Chuba Hubbard data been updated in advance. So this afternoon, I'll post that updated stuff for you guys over on Tails, and that's where you could get the full update. It's generally going to be the same, but you'll just see the updated projection for Rico Dowdle, for the ownership there and how that might impact some of the other players on the slate. And who knows, maybe like Achan's ownership will drop later on the day as well.
That's a great idea. Yeah, and it'll all be free. So we can throw some of those updates. Of course, if you guys already have the tools, you don't need that. But if you don't, come grab some of that info for free to help guide you into Sunday's 10-game slate. It's a really fun slate, Greg. And I understand it's a wonky slate now with some of these injury. Oddly enough, we've had a lot of similar injury news throughout the first 4 weeks, except all of it, for the most part, has kind of broken towards the players being active, right? Like a lot of guys, Devontae Adams, right? And a lot of these guys not practicing Wednesday, Thursday, limited practice Friday, Brock Bowers, and then they all end up playing. Chuba Hubbard being another one last week. The list goes on and on. This is the first week where you're seeing all of these guys not practicing, popping up on injury reports. I don't know if you saw it. Brock Bowers practiced limited on Wednesday, didn't practice at all on Thursday. He's the third guy this week who has practiced limited on Wednesday and then sat out on Thursday and then actually trends down from where he was on Wednesday. Yeah,
and it seems from what we've heard about Brock Purdy, he may have re-injured himself in practice before he ended up playing in last week's game. So he played, but he played through the injury. And it seemed like it just made the entire situation worse for him. And now we could be looking at another extended absence from Brock Purdy because of that. So, yeah, we've also got more guys getting hurt at practices this year or trying to practice through an injury and aggravating something they're dealing with.
Yeah, exactly. So it's been a problem this week. And I can't wait to dig into this. The first thing that jumps off the page, though, and you mentioned it before we even started the show, is Devon Achane, 71%. We're projecting him for close to 50% ownership. I don't think it'll be that high because, again, another thing you had pointed out, I think on Wednesday, this is a very, very, very deep running back slate. From Achane to $5,600 haul to a discounted Rachaad White at $4,700 to Rico Dowdle at $4,300. Dowdle honestly might end up being, the more I think of it, he honestly may end up being like 30+%. But Amarian Hampton, although that offensive line has some real issues right now. Jonathan Taylor as a near 7-point home favorite. I mean, I haven't even mentioned Ashton Genty coming off the big game, or we haven't even talked about Saquon Barkley, who could potentially break out. And I think I've said it to you before, I think Barkley comes in way under 15% this week.
Maybe. So there is another part of this too, which is Spicy Chipotle put this in. He says, there's too much value and nowhere to spend up. This is where it hurts us that the wide receiver position is kind of garbage so far this season, and it's not even necessarily the faults of the players, because other than Brian Thomas, it's not like the top end wide receivers have just played bad. There's just been factors outside of their control. CeeDee Lamb, he's hurt. Justin Jefferson playing, well, I'd say without his quarterback, but I don't know that Carson Wentz versus JJ McCarthy is going to be any kind of real difference. He's in on the main slate anyway. But then you've also got, Jamar Chase playing without Joe Burrow. So Malik Neighbors also got hurt. All of the guys who we were anticipating to be the high-end stud, can't miss, safe fantasy points at wide receiver, the only one of those guys that's ended up being that guy this year is Puka Nacua.
You're right. But I still don't see Saquon Barkley being we're about to find out. But it's not an appealing on paper matchup, number one, right? Like, it's not a good matchup. Number two, the sentiment on him is overwhelmingly negative right now with how that offense is functioning. I'm going to say sub 10% on Saquon Barkley. We'll see. We should get an update relatively soon. I'm excited to see it. Besides the point, we don't need to dwell on it. Steven, if healthy, is Mac Jones the best backup quarterback in the NFL? He's certainly one of them. You guys laughed at me in week 2 on the deeper dive when I said that Mac Jones was not a significant downgrade to Brock Purdy and is actually pretty good. You're welcome over here. Come on, jump on the bandwagon, baby. Mac Jones is not that bad. Played with garbage in New England. He's not bad. He got the piss beat out of him last night and still played a great game. Yeah, he's one of the best backups, if not the best backup. And it wouldn't shock me if he's a starter next year and then underwhelms again because a bad team with no weapons grabs him, Greg.
In hindsight, a lot of this is in hindsight. I don't know if there's been a stronger play and stack of the entire season than when Mac Jones was, 3% owned at min price, that first game without Brock Purdy. So many people are like, no, Mac Jones is terrible. Can't play Mac Jones. He was min price and people didn't really want to play him on that slate.
Yeah. I mean, the leverage was still just given his, what was his ownership?
I think he was 2 or 3%.
Okay. I mean, yesterday was a lot different on a showdown slate on FanDuel. But yeah, for sure. Mac Jones, that was what, because I was real high on the San Francisco 3-man stacks, and no one wanted to play the 4K Mac Jones. It didn't end up winning tournaments because that was the Russell Wilson week, so it didn't matter. But any other week, Mac Jones, that would have been a really nice stack, and it was still going to cash anything you put it in. Yeah, it's just weird. Everyone hates him because of what happened in New England, but wasn't really his fault, dude. They had no offensive line and no quality pass catchers. So, yeah. Anyway, let's go to stacks first and see where we're kind of shaping up here for this slate.
All right. Yeah. So starting here with the stacks, we've got almost nothing showing up as a 3-man stack, which I think is important to point out. There's some Justin Fields, which it makes sense just considering the matchup against the Cowboys, even though Justin Fields has a lot of rushing upside. If there's a lineup that had, Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson, Mason Taylor, or whoever else, you could see how there's upside in pretty much any kind of aggressive stack like that against the Cowboys. But there is so much value on this slate That is it for three, and it's still a minimal amount. It's 2% of Justin Fields' 3-man stacks. Other than that, we are looking at mostly single and double stacks because the way to create upside on this slate is primarily just from playing all of the value that exists at running back and then wide receiver as well, to a lesser extent with guys like Jalen Waddle.
Man, that's a lot of Fields.
It is a lot of Fields. I just realized that now. I hadn't looked at the quarterback exposure, but yeah, a little bit over 50% of our top lineups at Fields now.
55% almost. Wow. Yeah, look, I'll tamp that down just because it's the Jets. And I like the Jets this week. I threw a tweet out on Monday night being like, they're way, way underpriced. There's no doubt they're super underpriced. But, dude, 54% is a lot. Bryce Young not getting much. I will be boosting Sir Bryce in a spot like this. I don't care. I want to get to some of him. I may even go, dude. All right, can I throw a crazy proposition out there for you?
Go for it.
Bryce Young, Tet McMillan, Rico Dowdle, Jalen Waddle, or Devon Achane run back. If you were to do that, it may actually be so absurd that it's not even necessary. If you went Bryce Young, Rico Dowdle with Devon Achane, or actually let's go Waddle here. Go Waddle. You're not going to have any of those in there. I know that for a fact. You might, who knows? Tet McMillan and Waddle. You have the starting running back who's not even that bad. You have the number one receiver with the quarterback. You have the number one receiver on the other side. And if I were to say play the Saints defense at 2,200, I have 7,000 almost remaining for my final four players. It might actually be too much salary because you still have to play a tight end. So it might not even be necessary. It might actually be a minus EV spot because of how ridiculously cheap this Carolina team is and how cheap Waddle is.
Yeah, and looking through some of our lineups there, I don't know if you saw I was filtering while we're coming. Yes, we did not have any of those. There's only actually of the top 150 lineups, only 2 had Bryce Young. None of them had Tua. But with that said, individually, we have a decent amount of exposure to a handful of those players. Rico Dowdle showing up in 16% of lineups right now. We got Achane right now, the number one rostered player by the Sims, showing up in just over 70% of lineups. Then at wide receiver, you got Waddle in 25% of lineups, McMillan in 10% of lineups. So other than the quarterback, those are guys that we're getting a decent amount of exposure to. So it's not that unreasonable based on the data. It's just rostering a different quarterback and making it a game stack.
Yeah, what do you think about this? Are you ready for some, as Ben would say, mega mind genius play stuff? What do you think about
is it going to be the same as playing Bryce Young with every player in the Dolphins-Panthers game?
No. Rico Dowdle and Tet McMillan with no Bryce Young.
There's probably a good amount of those lineups.
You think?
Yeah, I mean, we've got exposure to both.
I didn't see how much McMillan we had.
10%. So I assume there's some. Lineup contains Dowdle and Tet McMillan. Oh, there's one here. This shouldn't be surprising just based on what our exposures were, but Justin Fields, Rico Dowdle, Devon Achane, Garrett Wilson, Tet McMillan, Chris Olave, Trey McBride, Jahmyr Gibbs, Saints defense.
I like it. I don't dislike that at all. Yeah, so there's ways to get weird on a slate like this. You know what I wanted to see? Do we have any Tua, like 2-mans or 2 or 3-mans?
No, there are. I was sorting by that before. There are 0 top 150 lineups that have Tua in them.
No way. Really?
Yep. Tua did not show up in any top lineups at all. You could see.
Get out of here. Okay, so wait a second. So then how much Waddle do we have?
We've got Waddle in 25% of lineups.
We have Waddle in 25, Achane over 70, and no Tua.
Correct.
Which means that we probably have a ton of Waddle and Achane lineups together.
Yes, without a doubt. I mean, you just look at like quick math here, something like what 10 to 15% of lineups probably have Waddle and Achane together without Tua. Yeah, something like that.
Genuinely surprises me. But I mean, I don't hate the idea of just getting to the two best skill players. I always have concerns. I always have concerns about Jalen Waddle because has this guy proven that he can be the guy when Tyreek Hill is out? Yeah, like, there's an element here where it's like, is Jalen Waddle, is he ever going to be like a 10, 11 target guy in a spot like this? I want to say yes, but I don't have confidence in it. Fortunately, he's cheap enough to where it doesn't matter. Like if Waddle was $6,500, I would want far less of him than I have this week.
Yeah, the problem is that we don't really have a sample size of it because Tyreek Hill has been generally very, very healthy throughout his career. If he's missed games, it's generally been because of off-field stuff or something else. Like look at his entire time with the Dolphins. This is only going to be his second ever missed game with the Dolphins this upcoming week. Obviously, there's going to be very many missed games for the Dolphins after this, but he came to the Dolphins in 2022 over the course of 2022, 2023, 2024. Even though he actually dealt with injuries, he played through them. He only missed one game.
Which is pretty nuts.
Yeah, let me look at that 2023 season and which game he missed. It might have even just been him getting rested at the end of the year.
Also, DFS Temp, he said, I mean, his rookie season, he had 96 receptions with no Tyreek. Yeah, I remember that. It's amazing. He's been around since 2021. He had, was it 96 receptions? But I think he had like 100-yard game. Yeah, like he had 1,000 yards. He had 104 receptions for 1,000 yards. I mean, that's fine for PPR, but it's actually not that impressive. It was his second season where he had that huge year. Him and Tyreek Hill blew up. Last year is actually an interesting case study as well, because if you look at last season towards the end, Tyreek Hill was playing as a decoy. I don't care what anybody says. It's very obvious. He had that injured wrist, and that followed him for months following the end of the season. And Jalen Waddle did have a couple solid games, 9 for 99, 8 for 144 and a touchdown. So he had a few of them, and he missed a couple in between there as well. But yeah, I still think he's a good play. It's just Jalen Waddle's floor is very low. And while I think clearly his floor is higher without Tyreek Hill, I'm not convinced he has like a, 6 for 70 floor like some of these guys would if they were the clear alpha in an offense like this with no other weapons.
I don't know if this will change your opinion at all. It's a sample size of one game, but I'm just going to let you guys know here's what happened in that one game. Jalen Waddle, since Tyreek Hill came to the Dolphins, Jalen Waddle has played in one game without Tyreek Hill. He had 8 catches on 9 targets for 142 yards and a touchdown. That's the only game he has played without Tyreek Hill since Hill came to the Dolphins.
I'm okay with that. I'm not going to kick him out of bed for eating crackers. You want to give me 8 for 142 and a touchdown against a good Jets defense, right? It was the Jets.
Yeah, it was the Jets.
I'm okay with that. All right. What are our other quarterback Oh, you know what? Can we do something real quick? Can we either like unique 3 or bring down Justin Fields' exposure a little bit? I just want to see what it looks like if we were to, mix this up a bit, because that's a lot of Fields. Not everyone's going to want to get that much Fields. So let's bring him down a little bit.
Yeah, I'll just cap him at 20%.
There you go. That's perfect. You guys don't have to do this, but it makes for a better show. We can provide more content as well. More insight, really. Okay, wow.
Yeah, so I set an exposure cap of 20% on Justin Fields. You guys will see here now 20%. If you want to, once again, see how I did that, just on the lineups tab, I went to exposure caps, and then I just typed in 20% on Justin Fields, hit set exposures and adjust favorites, and then the lineups got updated, and now we have that exact 20% of Justin Fields. What'd that do for some other guys? It still didn't bring Tua into any lineups, by the way. That was the first thing I wanted to look at. Still no Tua, but Kyler Murray in more lineups. It really got spread out behind Fields. Like, I could kind of see why the Sims, at least as of right now, are pushing Fields a lot, because the data didn't necessarily really love other quarterbacks. So what happened instead is just across the board, guys came up a little bit. It's not like one guy all of a sudden became the guy who showed up in a ton of lineups behind Fields. We got 17% of Murray now, 13% of Daniel Jones, 12% Herbert, who's pretty popular. He's projected for 18% ownership. We've got CJ Stroud in 11% of lineups. He's very cheap at $5,200 against the Ravens. One thing that's nice about Stroud is in the event that he has a big game, we could pretty reliably say that Nico Collins has a big game, so that makes sense to stack. But yeah, pretty spread exposures here.
I'm a little shocked we have basically no Jared Goff.
Goff. Yeah, just 2 out of 150 lineups with Goff.
He's just capable of going nuts on any given slate. You know, it could throw 4 touchdowns any day. DFS tab, any Stroud +2. We must. You can go in the stack exposures, Greg, and check. But there's got to be some Stroud plus Nico plus Kirk or plus Nico plus Schultz. Nico's price point is very reasonable this week. Yeah, there you go. There's a lot.
Some of them right here on screen. It's a split between QB +2 and QB +1. So I assume pretty much all of these are going to have Nico Collins in them, but you've also got Collins and Kirk, Collins and Schultz.
I would zoom in on
Collins
that a bit
and
too.
Schultz again. This one is Collins and Schultz. Yeah, most of them are Collins and Schultz with a little bit of Collins and Kirk as well.
Can you zoom in on that a bit?
Yeah.
There we go. Chris, seems like the Sims are going to be wrong about Darnold. He's about the same price as Rattler against the pass funnel Tampa D. Yeah, maybe. But I will say, Chris, and I know you're in here a lot. I know you know football. I'm still pretty convinced that Seattle wants to run the football, and it doesn't feel like a team that's just going to abandon the run game and go 70-30 pass in any spot. Like they clearly want to run the football. And I'm under the impression that, sure, maybe you have to throw a little bit more, but you don't really get the rushing upside with Darnold. You could surely pair him with JSN. Outside of that, I don't know. I love the ascension of Elijah Arroyo, and I think soon he's going to be getting a lot more opportunities. We saw back-to-back end zone targets for him last week against the Arizona Cardinals in Arizona. Cooper Kupp is kind of just there at this point. I'm not really I don't know. Holton is there, but he's not getting a lot of work. Chris says Tampa hasn't allowed over 50 rushing yards to. I know. I know.
I know, but something I'm confused about. Our data likes Darnold. We're 2x the field on him.
Yeah.
So I'm wrong in what way? Because the data right now likes Darnold.
I think he would expect us to get more of Sam Darnold. Would be the idea.
Yeah, like if you were to make a list of all the quarterbacks we're overweight to the field to, yeah, Darnold is the quarterback we're the 5th most overweight to for the slate. There's only 5 quarterbacks we're overweight to. Darnold is one of them. So if you had to isolate the quarterbacks the data likes the most, he's one of the top 5.
Right. A couple people saying, yeah, they haven't allowed any running yards to running backs. None of that's lost on me at all. Like their run defense, you had Vita Vea plugging up the middle, very good. But what I'm also saying is, like, if you look at opposing teams' rushing attempts, the Eagles still had over 20 rushing attempts between their running backs. I don't know what it was between Bijan and Algier, but it had to have been around. I'm pretty sure it was 20 plus between the two of them. teams are still attempting to run the ball against them. So yeah, maybe they'll just go full out pass heavy. And if that's the case, Darnold would be your guy for sure. I get it.
Yeah. So Darnold, I think he is, at his ownership, I think he's pretty reasonable. He's showing up in lineups. I don't know that I want to have like 20% of Darnold or anything like that, but I'm good with him being somebody we're overweight too.
Here's a fun one. Einsteinium, Seattle allows receptions to opposing running backs. What are your thoughts on White and on Sean Tucker? Well, Greg, interesting that he'd bring that up, because over on Tails last night during the game, I actually posted a pic describing exactly what our friend Einsteinium is talking about. Let me show you. It's free, by the way. And this one only to Tails, not to YouTube, not to Twitter, anything like that, only to Tails. A lot of them are Tails exclusive. Same with Greg. Rachaad White over 21.5 receiving yards. I laddered that up to 40 over at Bet365 because you're going to not have Bucky. In 2023, this is crazy, Greg. When White was the starting running back, he cleared 22 receiving yards, 14 to 17 games, ran a route on 80% of dropbacks, and had a 13% target share. This season, yes, Seahawks have allowed a league high 29 receptions, 266 receiving yards to opposing running backs. So that is something that I think benefits Rachaad White in this spot. Sean Tucker, you mentioned it on Wednesday. He had like that one really big catch and run, which accounts for basically all of his career receiving work. I do like that. And if you guys aren't on Tails yet, you should come check it out. We got a lot going on. I already got a lot of bets. I thought this one was going to hit yesterday, and that last second field goal killed us. But Greg's got a ton of bets that he's posting, a lot of DFS information as well. All of this stuff, and he even posts results. If you guys aren't over there, what are you doing? It's just getting cooler and cooler, man. It really is. Mitch, who's going to be on with me today. I'm starting a new show too, Greg. I hope everyone comes and watches. 2:00 on the OddsShopper YouTube channel and on Twitter. It's called The Top Rung, and it's going to be straight ladder bets for everything. My old friend Davis Maddock is going to join me. Mitch, DFS and Donuts, is going to join me. Going to have a good time. But yeah, Greg, we added the leaderboard over here on Tails as well.
Leaderboard's being worked on at the moment. But yeah, we do have it. We do have it. More enhancements coming to it.
So check it out. Links in the description. Follow me, follow Greg, turn on notifications. No credit card required. Nothing like that. Sign up, grab some free picks. Don't worry about being on Twitter with all the muddled mess of other shit baked into your algorithm for when you accidentally clicked and engaged on something that now you regret. None of that. It's just betting content, DFS content, all of that in one spot. Come check it out if you haven't done so. You guys are going to love it. This is great too. Clayton, I almost feel guilty with the money I've made using free picks. That makes me happy.
Also, not something to feel guilty about. There was somebody, I don't know if you saw this because I had reposted this guy, Loughy. There's a guy who, by his own admission, is not a good bettor. By his own admission, is not a good bettor. He's made over $100,000 in 3 consecutive months. All he does is tail people either for free picks. Like, he made a whole list of the people he tails. He just tails free picks and people's packages. That's it. He says he himself is a negative EV bettor. His own bets don't profit. What he does is he takes bets from myself. He takes bets from DK DFS, Dravi also, who's on Tails, and a handful of other people. And then he just looks for the best lines that he could possibly get on exchanges. And he has profited over $100,000 in 3 consecutive months doing that. And he's got all of his bets tracked on Pickett as well.
It's a way to do it, man.
So don't feel guilty, Clayton. It's if it makes you money, cool by me. Go for it. Keep doing it.
Find your edge. Find your edge. DFS 10 Live. Are you joining the Swocast as a guest? Yeah, man. My old buddies. My first actual paid job in the industry was Dave Kitchen's site, Fantasy Insiders. So him and Davis and I go back a very long way. I'm really excited for that. It's been a while. So that's, I think, 3:00 on Davis or on the Swocast channel. All right. Can we take a look at our exposures to wide receivers? Because it's not that great of a position as you've pointed out. Okay, so a lot of Nico. I get that. I like Nico this week. Wow,
Yeah,
that's
you
a
look at the
ton
guys
of
that we're
pay.
getting exposure to here, and it's not so much so that these guys are poor plays points per dollar. I don't think that's the case. It's just where are we spending our dollars this week with there's Rico Dowdle at running back. There's Rachaad White at running back. At wide receiver, you got like Nico Collins, even he's underpriced at $6,800. Waddle's only $5,400. It's trying to figure out who are the upper end guys that we're actually spending our money on. That's where it gets a little tricky. JSN is $7,100. He's certainly one guy who fits the bill, but maybe I should think of him differently. But I don't think of JSN as in like that peak Jamar Chase or peak sort of CeeDee Lamb. Like, I think he's just below. I think he's very, very good, but I think he's just a step below that. And I just find it hard to know what I really want to do with the wide receiver position. And if I'm not spending, like, just where am I spending up? Because it doesn't make a ton of sense to go to all the top end running backs and forego the value. That means we have to spend up in some way at wide receiver. And it's just, do I want to pay for a $7,900 Amon-Ra St. Brown or $7,100 JSN? I think we're kind of forced to, but I'm not super comfortable with it.
I'm not super comfortable with Zay Flowers. I mean, Cooper Rush and also Derek Stingley returned to practice on Thursday. If Stingley was out, you could twist my arm. If Stingley plays, I do not love that at all. I really, really don't. Like, I could see them trying to force feed Derrick Henry here. Cooper Rush is going to have to try and make some plays. He's not very good, man. Like, again, people will go back and be like, oh, he won some games in Dallas. Yeah, everyone said the same thing about Jake Browning, and how's that working out for you, right?
Yeah.
And Jake Browning has Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. Not good. But if they're forced to throw, there's that. On the other hand, Houston's offense still scares me outside of Nico Collins. So
yeah, I don't feel comfortable with Flowers at all either with Cooper Rush as his quarterback. I know CeeDee Lamb was still an elite fantasy option with Cooper Rush as his quarterback. We saw some massive, massive games from CeeDee Lamb with Rush under center, but CeeDee Lamb is way better than Zay Flowers, which I don't think is any kind of slight. Zay Flowers is solid. He's just not that number one sort of wide receiver in the same way that CeeDee Lamb is. So I'm with you. I don't feel comfortable with this amount of Zay Flowers at all.
Alan, what is your take on playing Mason against the Browns? It's not this slate. That's going to be a solo showdown slate. That is the London game. He's fine just based on volume alone, but I don't think efficiency is going to be there. It's a neutral field in London. Where was this other one? Einsteinium. Don't do this to us. Don't do this to us. For the podcast listeners, he said, I think we're a week early on Ladd. This is the week he breaks it open. You know, the funny thing about this, Greg, is I wouldn't be surprised at all if it were like, it wouldn't shock me at all. It's just at this point, opportunity cost, like he's 5,500 on any other slate. You'd look at this and go, you know what a great buy low spot. He's another $1,000 down from where he was last week. He's 1,400 cheaper than he was in week 2. But by playing Ladd, that means you have to forego a ton of other really good options. Like, forget about just wide receiver. Look in this 5K range. You have, you have McMillan, you have Waddle, you have Quentin Johnston on the same team, Breece Hall, Keenan Allen, Jacoby Myers. The list keeps going. Michael Pittman is way down there at 5,100. And that's not even including guys like Rico Dowdle, Rachaad White, and the like. So if this is the week on McConkey, God, I hope it isn't.
Well, let's set ourselves up to look stupid. Who leads the Chargers in receiving yards the rest of the season from here on out?
It's a great question. I don't want to overreact. I got to go Quentin Johnston.
I'm going to say Keenan Allen, but it wouldn't be shocking if it's any of those three guys. There's going to be a point where it really makes sense to buy low on Ladd McConkey. I mean, if you want to go play Ladd McConkey this week, I don't have any kind of issue with it at all. I think I'm going to end up getting to other guys. I won't be outright fading McConkey. He's only showing up in 3% of lineups in the Sims right now. He sucked last week. The advanced data on him prior to last week did come out looking like he was still a really good wide receiver, and then just completely shit the bed last week with multiple drops and struggled to create separation against the Giants. I suspect confidence is probably a little bit of an issue now too. Maybe it's a sort of Marvin Harrison situation. You make one good play and all of a sudden the confidence is back, and then he's just dominating for a second half, because there was a clear change in Marvin Harrison when he caught that touchdown pass. What was it, a couple weeks ago? He was crying on the field, and then he just took over the rest of the game after that. So there's certainly a part of this where one big play, all of a sudden McConkey kind of gets his mojo back, and then he feels better about himself, and he's not making the same kind of drops or things along those lines. It is a little hard for me to click that button this week with all of the players that are priced similar to him that you mentioned already.
Yep. Kenneth Schmidt, how do I join Stokastic? Fella, I thought you'd never ask. It's very simple. You can click the first link in the you can click the first link in the description, and then very simply just select whatever you want, whatever subscription, weekly or monthly you want, any sport or all access, or click the other link that says sign up with our partners to get DFS tools for free, and just do it that way. I know a lot of you guys, and you can mention it in chat if you have already taken advantage of this. Many of you with Onyx, we just added this. Spend $10 and get $100 in Onyx cash. That's the best offer we have right now. So you click claim offer, you deposit, you spend your $10, you get $100 in Onyx cash, which is the equivalent of actual cash. And upon doing so, you place a bet. Once that bet settles, all you do is take a screenshot of your welcome email and your first settled bet. Email us at support@stokastic.com. That may seem like a lot of steps, but many of you who have done it that are watching now, I assume you can assure everyone else it's very easy process. You get a promo, a code for a free month. And if you were to sign up on 3 or 4 of these, that's 3 or 4 months. Every single one of these, by following these steps, equals a full month of the Sims Core, which I think is like $149 a month. And you're getting it anywhere from $5 to $10 for the entirety of it, plus whatever bonus bets, whatever Onyx cash you get in return. It's the best offer we have going right now, bar none. There's just no doubt about it. I don't think any other sites have anything as good as this either.
No. And how do I join Stokastic? To answer your question there, Kenneth, there's no better price than free, as Loughy went over. So this is the absolute best deal that we have going on the site right now. Take advantage of it.
Yeah, man. And Onyx is certainly the best one. 21 years or older to gamble. Gambling problem, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. Don't forget, though, if you're in non-legal betting states, all those pick'em sites apply as well. All right. Yeah, or end the pictures. Look, I get it. There's a lot of people that want to go nowhere near, lad. Greg, oh, God, this is steering me in the direction of Lad McConkey this week. It really is. Like, you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm a man of my word. I'm gonna get overweight on Lad McConkey, which is going to be very easy to do. He's not going to be 14. He's not going to be 14%.
We'll see. I think he's going to pull some ownership, though. He's pretty cheap. I don't think it depends what it is you have in mind, but I don't think he's going to be like 3 or 4% or something.
You think he's going to be the same ownership as Quentin Johnston at the same price?
No. But I think I don't think he's going to be massively contrarian.
Give me a number. I'm going to say 8%.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Okay. But that's almost half of what he's at right now.
Yeah. So if you played 20 lineups and you had him in 3, then you'd be like solidly overweight to the field.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's not crazy, right?
No,
that's not bad. Also, we're not playing a guy that has never done anything. Like, Lad has proven in the past, Greg, that he's still capable of having big games. It's just the dynamic of this team is a lot different than it was before. And none of that we shouldn't overlook that either, right? Like, there's always there's context to provide here. It's not just like, hey, everything is exactly as it was last year. That's not true. The offensive line is worse. They actually have a bell cow running back in Hampton right now. Quentin Johnston has taken another leap forward, and Keenan Allen is back. So there are multiple factors. And the point that you've made multiple times this week, Ladd McConkey actually isn't playing as well personally as he did last year. So yeah, we would need a lot of things to go right. There's a lot of variables at play here. We need a lot to go right in order for him to have a game. But at 5,500, there might be an argument there.
Yeah, I don't fault anybody for rostering him. I do not think I'm going to be heavy on him this week. I think I'm probably going to be more in line with our data where he'll show up in like 5% of lineups or something like that for me this week.
All right, now I want you to do something for me. And I want you to take a guess at something. And I want you guys to guess as well. Greg, do not cheat. None of you cheat. What is Ladd McConkey's receiving yards prop for this week? I want you guys all to guess right now. Go. Throw it in chat.
I just did a rapid answer. So that was the first number that came to mind for me, 58.5.
Okay. Have you placed any Ladd McConkey bets thus far?
I did last week, and it didn't come close to winning.
All right. Alec, Aquarius, 35, 45, 45 and a half, Arenda, 14. This guy does not like Ladd McConkey.
These numbers are all insanely low. So I know the number I bet last week. I bet 60.5 last week, and it was, so I bet 60.5 last week, and it was plus money on the over. So I don't think it's going to move massively off that, but I just took it a little bit lower than what it was last week.
Okay. Brian Engel, 0.5. Michael Scott, 5.5. People are, dude, I'm telling you, he's not going to be 15%. Well, I can gauge ownership to some extent just by the comments in chat. I'm telling you, it's doable. I've done it multiple times.
Also, I think some of the answers we're seeing in chat are hyperbolic when people are saying 0.5 or 22.5.
Obviously.
Like, these are not serious guesses.
No. Of course, but it still speaks to the sentiment surrounding Ladd McConkey. Because if I asked what the receiving yards prop would be on Collins this week, those same people would say, 80. So they still are, they're joking, but they think it's low. They don't like it, right? And then everything else, 40, 45, 65, 55. Brian, no, I said the 0.5 was a correction. Got you. Oh, okay. Brian was saying 48.5. Anyway, Bug Boy, I'll put my net worth on Ladd being under 10%. So here's where it is.
Closest to the pin.
I will show you. I got it. I already have the screen share pulled up. So if you're on Caesars, Greg was spot on. 58.5. Very great guess. 56.5 on FanDuel, 59.5 on DraftKings. If you just take props into consideration by themselves, Ladd McConkey at 5,500 with a 56, 59.5, 4.5 receptions, juice to the over, and probably a plus 140 to score a touchdown if I had to guess. Wow, way off. See, this, I actually really like this bet. If 2-1 odds on Ladd McConkey to score this week on Onyx and on DraftKings, I can get behind that.
All right.
I can absolutely get behind that.
I'll post. I bet I could get here's where I bet I could get a really crazy number. Here's what I'll do with Ladd McConkey. I'll go to Kalshi and I'll try to get a number on Ladd McConkey to score a touchdown where there's like public sentiment involved.
Okay.
Let's see what that's trading at.
But technically there's public sentiment involved on the books as well.
It's a little bit different, though, because the books are willing to take on a risk on a position. This is just what people are trading against each other.
All right, well, look at that. Plus 200. What's Quentin Johnston might be plus one. Okay, plus 170 on FanDuel. Tell me Hampton is minus money. Tell me there's no way. Hampton's got to be like at least plus 110. Right?
I posted Lad McConkey.
Whoa! Hampton is minus 160 on DraftKings to score this week, Greg.
Yeah, I mean, but some of these too, where people are just betting and there's no side. These are like, that's just a stupid number.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. I'm just saying, like, minus 160, but Lad is plus 200. Pretty wild.
Aquarius wants to know what I want. I want internet points, which for occasionally for me, there is no prize greater than being able to pat myself on the back for something with no monetary value.
That's true. It was a great guess, though. And for that, you deserve all
internet points
of the accolades. And of course. Nice work, sir. You do owe me a spy ticket from our second bet, though.
That is true.
All right.
I owe you a spy ticket, which I think we'll figure out a fun way to do that for next week on the single lineup sim show. I don't know. Is there anything else that you think we should put up? I already said for tails, I'm going to put up the updated sim exposures after we get the Chuba Hubbard update. Is there anything else that we could bet on or maybe put up on tails for this week?
Let me think. Maybe we'll put it up on Twitter or something when we do, and we can promote it on like Deeper Dive and Live Before Lock too. Brooklyn Silver, who cares about your damn breakfast sandwich? We are here for DFS. Well, fella, you know what that means. Sunday morning, you're going to get a dissertation on my next delicious breakfast. Keep it up. Just as I said on Live Before Lock, Adam Schefter post something about that starting lineup for the Niners, and I told you what was going to happen. It did. Don't poke the bear. Don't poke the bear. We'll be talking about my 4-egg omelets next time.
Yeah. Watch it. We're going to start calling you Brooklyn Bronze with more takes like that. Get out of here. We want to hear about Loughy's breakfasts.
The only reason I mentioned it is because I had like 50 people tweet me asking what I was having for breakfast today. I said, fine, I'll talk about it on the show. Anyway, I want to get back to something and get your thoughts on it. So, if we're looking at our lineups, actually, go to tight ends real quick, Greg. We didn't look at tight ends.
Yeah, so over at tight end's also kind of tricky for this week because Brock Bowers is so up. I don't know what to make of that Brock Bowers news. I have no clue what to make of him. Limited practice to no practice. If he doesn't play, all of a sudden we got Jacoby Myers added into the mix as another really good pass catching option. And then all of a sudden you're looking at Myers as a really good tight end option on the value side, just when we need more value on the slate. So I do think that kind of muddies the waters of tight end. But just considering how much value there is at other positions, I think it just makes sense to spend up for guys like Trey McBride, like Tyler Warren. If Brock Bowers checks out, we find out he's fine. Cool. Him as well. But right now, it totally makes sense to me that we're getting to these spend up tight ends. McBride, Tyler Warren, Jake Ferguson all showing up. Cool. We've got value everywhere else. Just give me the more expensive tight ends.
I don't know. Was Bowers back at practice? No, he missed practice yesterday.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's too hard for me to really make a determination right now what to do with Brock Bowers. He's such a pivotal part of the tight end position. But as of right now, I don't have any issues with him just giving us the expensive tight ends.
Me neither. I don't think Brock Bowers plays. I'm going to throw it out there right now. If you are going somewhere, OMG lols, it was big cereal propaganda. Kellogg's, General Mills, all those, they invented the whole breakfast is the most important meal of the day. The more you know. So last week, Michael Mayer was out, right? Yeah, he was out, and I think he got hurt in week 3.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, with a concussion. He's 2,600. This is just so wild that once again, you'd be like, Michael Mayer is actually a good pass catching tight end. He was hyped up all summer. I know you saw all of that as well. Mm-hmm. He's really not a bad pass catching tight end. Brock Bowers is just special. If Bowers is out, that means you get a $2,600 tight end that could immediately slot in as another really good value if he plays. Like, I have very little doubt that Michael Mayer will profile as, at the very least, one of the best point per dollar plays on the slate.
Even with Bowers healthy in week 1, we still saw Mayer finish the game with 4 targets, caught 4 of them for 78 yards. He just hasn't been, I mean, Brock Bowers hasn't been healthy either, but Mayer's even been less healthy than Bowers has been. So the one game we've really seen him play to completion, he had the 4 catches for 38 yards. So yeah, I mean, you could make a case that if he doesn't play, he should be projected not quite the same as McBride, Warren, and Ferguson, but as good, if not better, than every other tight end on the slate.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it for sure. And he'll be easy to get to. Who would have thought you could comfortably leave salary on the table on a main slate? I'm not saying you should, but you probably could and make a really good lineup. Even like if Bowers ends up being out, my God, it's going to be nuts. All right, let's go over our top lineups before we get out of here. Unless there was anything else you want to look at, I'm all ears. Just make sure to zoom in on that again.
Yeah, nothing else as far as the positions go. Mentioned the tight end is really up in the air at the moment, so we'll have to see what ends up coming of that. But other than that, we tamped down the exposure to Justin Fields, but I totally understand why he's getting pushed way more in the data than any other QB.
Me too. It makes very much sense, a ton of sense, because the Dallas Cowboys defense is absolutely atrocious. And, you know, Justin Fields has immense rushing upside. What was wild to me is it was actually, no, I got that wrong. It was before we tamped him down, it was like 28% skinny stacks and then 23, I think, Greg, double stacks for Fields, right? And then I think only 1. How much Mason Taylor are we getting then?
Almost just 1 out of 150 lineups. Very minimal.
Okay. What else do we want to look at before we get out of here?
Yeah, just turn the filters off here. The top lineups with no filter set towards the top. Let's see. This is our top 7 lineups. 3 of them are Jet stacks. There's a Panther stack, a Colt stack, a Cowboy stack, so the other side of the Jets game, a Seahawks stack for the Darnold fans out there, another Panthers, Texans stack. Nothing really all that surprising. Nothing that isn't expected.
All right. I'll give you my final takes and get Greg's as well. But first, Hobbs says he's going to make a bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich. Hobbs, no breakfast talk. We're here for DFS, scumbag. All right. Let's go. Someone just jumping in now that missed the previous part of this show is going to be very confused by that. So here's what I'm going to do. My top 5 favorite stacks for the week, Greg. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
And then I want yours. It's going to be the Justin Fields stack. I think there's so many ways to make that work. There's another one that we're not getting much of, but I think needs to be, in my opinion, higher up and that I intend on getting to. It's going to be Dallas on the other side. We didn't talk much about that, but the New York Jets secondary has not been particularly good. And we have seen instances where they get bludgeoned through the air. If that's the case, yeah, we like Dak more at home. He can still sling it. We saw it last week at home. Sure, this is on the road, but it's not a cold weather game, nothing like that. I do think some Dallas stacks, if this Jets team becomes super popular and Dak Prescott on the other side is far less popular, right now getting half the ownership of Justin Fields, I'm all about that. I also want some Bryce Young. These are in no specific order outside of Justin Fields up top. I do want to get over the field or overweight on Bryce Young. I don't need to get a ton in order to do that. And then I will throw in Kyler Murray and Justin Herbert. I do think that game could potentially shoot out in a Charger stack. Would be interesting to see what Jaden Daniels stacks look like, but I'd put him 6 because I don't think he's going to be popular at all.
Yeah, so when I think about stacks, it's always it's not just the players I like, but it's something like when we rostered Stafford last week. It is, if this guy has a big game, what gives us the easiest path to a ceiling lineup in a GPP? And the Stafford one was really simple last week. If he plays well, he only throws the ball to Nakua and Devontae Adams for the most part, and he doesn't have any rushing upside. So it's like, if he plays well, these guys play well, we know the stack ends up working out. So there are some guys in that same vein that I like for this week. One of them, CJ Stroud to Nico Collins, easy. If CJ Stroud is a really big game, Nico Collins, who's underpriced for the slate, he's having a big game. I feel very confident in that. Kyler Murray. I like double stacks of Kyler Murray with Marvin Harrison and Trey McBride. I think the Marvin Harrison going forward is going to be a way different player than what we saw in the first few weeks of the year. He smashed in the second half of last week's game. He really struggled in the first week. It seemed like he got his confidence back. He came into last year as one of the top wide receiving prospects, or considered one of the top wide receiving prospects in quite some time. Is he going to be that player? Not quite what the credentials were, but it seems like he's going to be fine going forward. I like those Kyler Murray double stacks. This is a little Justin Fields to Hall and Garrett Wilson. Hall's also really involved in the passing game, even though he's a running back, so I feel pretty good about that combination. I'll just go those three for now. Those three for me.
Works for me. Give me one spot that you would fade. It could be any player. It could be any team. It could be any build that you plan on coming in underweight on.
Let's see. Something I plan on being underweight to. What's all of our ownership looking like right now? This isn't comfortable, but probably Detroit stacks. I think individually, I'll be getting Amon-Ra St. Brown. I always have a hard time, for the exact same reason I said before, that I like targeting these specific spots where we know the production is coming from. It's the inverse reason that I struggle with Detroit. You could see a game. We've seen it before. We've seen Detroit put up 55 points and they don't get any production out of their passing game. It is so hard to know on a week-to-week basis where the Lions' touchdowns and points are going to come from. Amon-Ra St. Brown, just because of the weakness of the wide receiver position, he's going to be somebody I get overweight to, but I think I'm going to struggle to get to Jahmyr Gibbs. People in chat have talked about wanting to play David Montgomery. That's a spot I'm not really super high on. Sam Laporta, he's fine, but I still think there's other tight ends I like more. There are so many good high upside players on the Lions, and a lot of them are popular this week. It's going to be hard for me to be with the field on all these Lions pieces.
Okay. I'm on board with that. I'm not sure where else. Scroll all the way to the top of ownership for me. Damn. I don't know. Maybe I come in under on Fields and over on Dak, and that ends up being my way to get exposure to that game. That might be a way to play it. Anyway, appreciate you guys. You're the best. Thank you for hanging out as always. Remember, everything over on Tails is 100% free. Come join us, man. Come hang out. Sweat these bets with us. Oh, Ben Rasa. Little Friday night college football bet. Yeah, when I tell you that you can just go into the Explore page and explore bets for like any league, any of these games from anybody, I mean, it is absolutely the place to be if you're a bettor or a DFS player. Like, honestly, look at this. We have a bunch of people like, I come in, someone DM me, he's like, I come in, I check this out every couple hours. I throw some bets in. I get some DFS content. It's great stuff. Grab the people you're following, turn on notifications straight to your phone, download the Tails app. Very cool stuff, man. I'm excited about it. And we keep growing it. It's going to keep getting better. This leaderboard is going to keep evolving. And I hope you guys like it. Also, if you have suggestions about it, hit us up. Let us know, right? Like if you guys say, hey, I'd love to see something like this. We're open to any and all suggestions right now because we want to make this platform the #1 place for free picks, for free bets, for free DFS content that anyone can jump in and contribute, or anyone can jump in and immediately take value away from it. And that's our goal here. So anything else before we get out of here, Greg?
No, that's it. If you guys haven't done it, like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel, follow Loughy and I on Tails. Also, Like I said, we're going to have a projections update sometime this afternoon. As soon as that goes live, I'm going to run the sims and I'll post some of the updated exposure. So if you guys are looking for updated data for the absence of Chuba Hubbard and what our data team has about it, I'll be posting that on Tails. I assume that we could be seeing Achane's ownership come down a little bit and maybe a little bit more to Rico Dowdle. We'll see, though. We'll see.
Until next time, good luck, and we'll see you on Friday. It all culminates, Sunday, 4-hour live stream right here on the Stokastic YouTube channel. Bye-bye.